Hello all, welcome to Selenium Python training series. In this session, we are going to continue creating the framework that is Behave BDD hybrid framework with page object model. This is part 7 of this framework creation series. The previous parts, we have built this framework to this level where we also have implemented this page object model as part of part 4 and part 5. And in the part 6, we have implemented the data driven thing also. Now this is part 7 where we are going to remove the hard coding of the other data from the individual automation scripts. So if it is not BDD related stuff, okay, if this framework is not BDD, if it is a PyTest hybrid framework, here I covered this, right? Selenium Python hybrid framework. This is PyTest framework actually. Here we have the capability of removing the hard coding of the data from the individual scripts, instead reading the data from the Excel files, okay? Here we have the capability of reading the data from the Excel files, okay? In this PyTest framework, we can read the data from the Excel files. But coming here, this is BDD related framework, BDD hybrid framework, where it is not recommended to read that kind of data from the Excel files. Okay. Why? Because instead of reading the data from the Excel files, we can pass the data from the same feature file itself. Okay. In BDD, we have the feature files that you know from this previous parts, right? We have created the feature files in the beginning part itself, right? From the feature files itself, we can pass the data. Then what is the need of reading the data from the Excel file? Okay. That's why it's not recommended you guys to implement any code or something in this BDD hybrid frameworks to read the data from the Excel files. Rather, you can simply read this particular or get this data from the feature files. By this, we can remove the hard coding of the data from the individual automation scripts. I'll explain this with an example, practical demonstration. For that, I'll switch to this PyCharm IDE. I'll take this register feature. I'll take this, first scenario. Here you see when I simply mention I enter details into the mandatory fields. Okay, this step. Here, a lot of details are, a lot of data is hard coded in the step definition method of this particular step. Let me open this register.py associated with that feature file. And here you can see I entered details into the mandatory fields. And you see all this data is hard coded. All this data is hard coded. So in other hybrid frameworks in the Selenium Python or whatever it is, okay, we would have read the data from the Excel files. But since this is BDD related framework, BDD hybrid framework, okay, here we don't have to read this data from the Excel files. Rather, we can pass this data from the feature file itself. Okay, from the steps of this feature file, we can pass the data. How? I'm going to show you now. Here I'll say, instead of writing the step like this, I enter details into the mandatory fields. I'll simply write down, I enter below details into the mandatory fields, just to make it more understandable. And here I'll provide the details. What details? I'll tell you. Here also I'll write, enter below details into the mandatory fields. Enter below details into the mandatory fields. Now it's matching. Now here I'll write down, I'll put a pipe symbol, like this kind of pipe symbols I'll provide. In the first one, I'll say first underscore name. I need to pass the first name, right? So here you see this is the first name, okay? This data I'll copy from here and paste it here directly. Below this, I'll create one more type symbol. Here also, first name, just like this first name. And here you paste it, the data. And this is the first name, then this is the last name. And here you enter the last name. I'll remove this hardcode. This data will remove from the steps in a while. Okay, there's no need of hard coding the data anymore in the individual automation scripts. Sorry, let's move somewhere. Here pipe. Anywhere any mistake? No. And here email is not hard. This is not about hard coding. We are generating the email, right? Here we are generating the email. So it's not a good idea to. You cannot actually pass this from the step because every time it should generate a new email. This is not hard coded. So this first name is hard coded in this, last name is hard coded, whereas this telephone number is hard coded here. I'll copy this telephone number and I'll put that under the telephone heading. And here in the bottom, I'll provide the telephone, the tab. Here, put pipe, done. Then once that is done, what else we have? Password is there. The last one is password. For password and confirm password, I'll pass the same thing. So this 12345 12345 is same. So I'll put it in a single place and put a type symbol here also. Done, remove this stuff. Now the things are good. So like this, we can pass this data from this step. But how to collect this particular data that is passed from this step into this step definition method? There is a way. That is, here I have to write down for something. Just give some, let's say data or for data or just say row. Otherwise, row in. You have to write down this context. This context you have to use for row in context dot. You have to say table colon and move all these steps to the right like this. Put a tab, press a tab. It will be aligned under the for loop. And here, instead of providing Arun, you just mentioned this particular row of in the double quotes that give the double quotes, and from the feature here, whatever the heading you gave, first name, that you pass it here. For this one, row of again double quote and get this last name. Copy paste as it is. Then here email we have not removed it. It's going to generate. That's fine. Telephone we can do that. Row of instead of hard coding the telephone data here, we'll get the data from here. Copy this telephone and paste it here. And for the password, row of in the double quotes, we'll get this password from here. And this is also password confirm, which is also same password we are going to give. So in double quotes, I think I have to give actually this one. I gave that one. Password I have to give. Like this I have to give. Here also password you mentioned. That's it. So this is how we can pass the data from the feature files. There's no need of reading this particular data from the Excel files in the case of BDD kind of frameworks, okay? From the feature file scenarios itself, under one of the step you can mention like this and you can pass the data here. Now you are getting the data from this steps, right? By this way, you are removing the hard coding of the data from this automation scripts, okay? You see, you have not hard coded the data here. You can repeat the same things for other scenarios also. Okay, if you want to repeat that for other scenarios, you can repeat that. That's okay. But for now, for example, I'll show you how whether this works or not. Okay. Now we are done with that. We have passing the data from here and collecting the data here, and it should work fine. Now only run this particular scenario. Okay, run this one only, something like that. A different tag I'm giving. Copy this. And now go to the terminal and see whether it is working fine or not. Okay, when after passing the data from the one particular step from the scenario of this feature file, is the data being passed instead of getting hard coded here? Let's see. So behave features hyphen tags is equal to give, paste it, run this on the only tag. Okay, and it should run. So if it runs, we are good. Okay, it's entering all the stuff. Yeah, it got executed. You see, it's working fine. The data is being passed from that step of the scenario of the feature file into that step definition method. And now the data is not hard coded. You can do the same thing for all the other things. Okay. For example, here also you are hard coding the data. Go to that respective scenario. We can go to that respective scenario. For example, this one is done. Now I'll remove this. I'm not going to run again. Register with all fields. Here also we'll implement. I enter below details into all fields. Okay, here also almost same thing will be there, copy paste. Okay, this is the data that we need to pass and register with all fields, right? Go to that register with all fields. Sorry, what is that? Sorry, this one. I enter below details into all fields. Okay, I enter details into all fields. Here I have to add below. There is a change in the step, right? And here again, you can do the same thing for row in context dot table and move this, give the indentation here and here instead of mentioning Arun, just mention row of, okay, the same thing. Whatever we have done here, you just go and repeat the same thing because we copy pasted in the steps also, right? Same thing we can do that here also. I'll copy this, paste it here, row of last name, then row of telephone, this row of telephone. We are removing the hard coding of the data from everywhere. Row of password, Okay, here also row of password is also done. And for this also we can implement. I enter the details into all the fields except email field. Where is that scenario? So here also I enter details into all the fields except email field. This one, copy this. Again, copy this. Whenever you have to pass the data, you paste it like, okay? Now enter details in all the fields except email field. This one, come back here per row in context dot table. Just press tab here. Now here, this is same now. Again, row of first name. We are removing the hard coding of the data from the individual scripts. Row of last name. Copy this, paste it here. And what else? Row of telephone. Copy from here, paste it here. Then we have row of password. Copy this, paste it here, paste it here. Done. Okay, this part is done. Now any other stuff where hard coding is there, there is no hard coding here. Okay. Most of the hard coding is removed from this thing. Now let's run all the scenarios in this restart. Otherwise, yeah, we can run without any problem. Okay, only extra one scenario is there. If all the scenarios in the register.feature file are running, means this passing of the data from this steps of this feature scenarios of the feature file is working fine. Okay, so C plus and behave features slash register dot feature. So, everything should work. All the four scenarios should run properly without any problem. The data should be passed as it is. As we have removed the hard coding of the data from the register.feature file, it should work fine. First one completed, register with mandatory fields completed. It was able to pass. Then second one. Second test is running now. It's passing the data, you see. From the feature file scenario, the data is coming to the step definition method and it's working fine. Now third one is running. Here also the data is getting passed. But yeah, it's working fine. It's working. The fourth one, we didn't do any changes to the fourth one, but it should work. Let's see. Fourth one is going to run. Yeah, it is working fine. Okay. Now, till now in this series, right, we have run the scripts on the Chrome browser, we have run the scripts on Firefox browser. Now I would like to run my scripts, upcoming scripts on the Edge browser. I'll go to this config.ini file where Firefox is mentioned. I'll just change it to Edge browser. I'll simply say Edge here, EDG, okay? I'll change it to the browser name date. Now the scripts are going to run on the Edge browser going ahead. Now register is now properly, okay? The removing hard coding of the data is removed. Let's go to the search.feature and let's see if any data is hard coded here. Just go to the search.py. As you can see, this data is hard coded, right? This data is HP is hard coded here. Honda is hard coded here. So what I can do is I can parameterize, okay? To remove the hard coding, I can parameterize this. How? Enter valid product, say HP. Like this, I can parameterize, okay? So here I have to go enter valid product, say double quotes, give that, write down product and comma, product you mentioned, and here copy the same product and paste it here. Okay, like this we can remove the as much as possible. You remove the hard coding. It's not compulsory that each and every pinpoint thing you have to remove the hard coding, but whatever is possible, you remove that hard coding by the way of parameterizing or bypassing the data from below step everything. Okay, different ways are there. Now here also, here we are passing the invalid product. So say Honda I'll pass from here. So and what is this? Enter invalid product. Let's go there and invalid product. Say double quotes with the curly braces. Write the product and comma. The same product you write out here, same product you mention here, and the same product you pass it here. That's it. The hard coding is done, is removed from this things also. Let's run the search related scenarios and see whether everything is working fine or not. Behave, features, flash, search dot feature. All the three scenarios should run. First scenario completed, working fine. Second scenario is running. Completed. Yeah, three scenarios got passed. Right? All the three scenarios. Honda is entered and everything is fine. Now we are able to remove the hard coding as much as possible from the individual automation scripts, even from such. Now we'll go for login. Login, where is login? Okay, this data is anyhow not hard coded because we are passing from here. So no need to worry much about this. Here invalid email and valid password we are saying we can parameterize this. Say double quote valid password. Okay. If I say invalid email, am I passing that data or hard coding? Actually, we'll see that. Okay. And passing invalid email, we are not hard coding the data, we are auto generating. This is not called as hard coding, but password is hard coded. So only for password you can write valid password. Say what is the password? This is the password. Copy this and pass from the step. And come back here and say valid password. Say here double quotes, give the curly braces and mention password. And the same password you create as a parameter here. And the same thing you pass it here. Done. Done. That is removed. Hard coding is removed. Now what else? Here, valid email. This is, I think this mostly this is valid email and invalid password. Valid email and invalid password. This one here we have hard coded both. So it's better. Say valid email. Say and valid password. Say double quote. And here put the data here. Instead of hard coding the data in the individual automation scripts, copy this data and put it here. And this invalid password also pass it from here. Done. Now come back here and say valid email. Say the curly braces, write down email, and here valid invalid password. Say double quote, curly braces. Here write down password, and now put this email as a parameter here, comma, password also as a parameter here, and now pass this email here, pass this password here. Done. Right? We are complete. We are done with this step. We have successfully removed that. Now, where else we have this invalid email and invalid password? This one mostly not auto-generated, mostly auto-generated. So invalid email, this one we cannot pass from the step. And whereas this one we can pass. Copy this and here write down invalid password. Say double quote, give that invalid password. And here come to the step and say invalid password. Say write down password, comma, same password you write down here, same password you enter here. So that's it. We have completely removed the hard coding from the login also. Okay. So it should be good. And there's few more things that we need to take care of. Okay. Here, somewhere here and there, we are auto generating this timestamp, right? But it is duplicated here and there. You see, This timestamp is duplicated here. It is duplicated here, not only in this step definition file, but also in the other register.py also it is there. So how to overcome that duplication? Whenever I need to generate an email, there should be a method I need to call. So instead of writing this code again and again, okay, I have to do something. So how to do that? Copy this code, and you know that the login register search is there. Where can I move? There should be some place to move now. So let me think what I can do here. Have to maybe I can move this into the utilities and try this. Okay, I'll just create a Python file and say email generator, email with the timestamp generator. Some name you give, that's okay. In this, create that function def get email, get new email with the timestamp. Okay, like this you create. So and paste the code here over the mouse, import this date time. That's it. Now here you will get this, and you can simply say either you can save here or directly you can say return here. Just if you want to reduce the lines, you can directly return this emotori timestamp@gmail. It will be when you call this method, it will return you the email with the timestamp. So now come back here, and you don't have to write these lines anymore. Remove this line, and here email invalid email is equal to here write down email with timestamp generator dot is the name of the Python file under utilities. Import this from utilities and now call the method get email, new email with timestamp. This will get and fall into the invalid that will pass here. So copy this and write down everywhere. You don't have to write this code here. You just call that method. It will take care of. Okay. This is also done not only here, but you can also do that in elsewhere also. That is go to the in search. I don't think we need that. In search, we have never used that kind of stuff, generating the email. But in register, we may have used elsewhere. So let's see where we have used in register. Here you see timestamp new email. Okay, so instead of this, write down here, write down new email. That will be enough. And remove this line. It's no more required. And hover the mouse, import. Done. Completed. Anywhere else we have used it, timestamp here also, you see. The same step you can copy here from here. New email is equal to. And replace that lines with this line. Okay, done. Have used it elsewhere. Mostly we have removed it from everywhere. Okay. So this is another thing. So now it looks good, right? So from everywhere we have removed the hard coding of the data, and also that thing also we have covered. That is a duplicated code also we have converted that into this utilities thing, and we have get that done. Now run all the scripts to see whether they are running or not after doing this change. Okay. So behave features slash say features. Press enter. All the tests will run. Let one test run. After that, it's running on the Edge browser. After one test run, I'll pause the recording and resume the recording. I'll now pause the recording and resume once all the tests got executed. If any problems are there, I'll fix before you. I'll resume and fix before you. As you can see, after removing the hard coding of the data from the individual automation scripts and passing the hard coded the data from the feature file steps, you see everything got passed. So with this, we are done with this session. That is part 7. So we have removed the hard coding of the data from the automation scripts completely. So that's all for this session. In the next session, we'll take to the next level. Okay, that is generating the LU reports and all. The final part. This is actually the final part where we are going to integrate the LU reports. Okay, we are going to integrate LU reports and all those stuff. that we have discussed earlier. The same thing we are going to implement, and that will complete our this framework, Behave BDD hybrid framework with page object model will be completed in the next session. Okay. So meet you in the next session where we are going to complete this framework. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye.